Hello my lovelies! Today I'm going to bring you a highly requested video. I'm going to show you how my productivity level tracker works. I've had so many questions about it and how to set it up, so I'm going to dedicate a video just to that so that you've all got the information and you can all make some yourselves. Yay! I first want to say that this is not my idea. It's something I saw on the Boosted Journal. He also has a video dedicated to it. I've tweaked things a little bit to suit my needs, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to set up the layout, and then I'm going to go through some different icons and things that you can have. I'm going to do it in my beautiful citrus book. Look at that binding, citrus book bindery. I have a review on this book if you'd like to see. It is sort of slightly on the pricey side, but in my opinion it's worth it to have such a beautiful journal. This is the one I'm going to use for all my collections and things and any extra videos that I make. Also, you know, they're handmade, they're good quality, you know, I think it's worth spending the extra few pennies. But yes, and look at the lovely coloured. Wow! Okay, so let's get straight into it. So I'm going to show you how to set this up. Now, this could be a little bit tricky because it involves lots of numbers and things, but I will do my very best to explain it to you as clearly as I possibly can. I'm going to use two different width pens. So I've got a, let's go for the 0.5 and the 0.05 nibbed pens. So I've got a thicker one and a thinner one, and this is just going to help me section things off. So we're going to start by doing a line across, and I do have the numbers written down somewhere to make this a bit easier for myself. Okay, so it's going to be 26 across. I'm just going to write in productivity first. Okay, so productivity level tracker. Right, what I'm going to do is we are going to go from the bottom. I like to go one square up so I know I've got a nice little border around the page. So I'm going to use my quilting ruler and we're going to go 26 across. And we're going to go 32 up. And then we're going to turn that into a box. Whoopsie, I've gone too far across. Okay, so that is our box. Ignore these. I did it wrong. In fact, I'm going to get some white out because I'm turning American. I'm going to get some Tipp-Ex because that's going to annoy me. Okay, so once you've got your box, we are going to go 2 in, and we're going to go 2 up from this line here, and you'll see why in a minute. So 2 in, I've got 2 boxes here, and once I get to this line here, I'm going to go 2 up, 1, 2. And then we're going to go across and we're going to connect this box to this line. Okay. Now to make the different sections for the different levels here, we've got level 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. You can use this number 5 as a plan, so you would put in your top 3 tasks here that you'd like to get done that day. I haven't been using it that way because I was just finding I was never doing the things that I was planning to do first, or I would forget to actually put them in. Plus sometimes I'd get so much done that I would have to go over the level 4, so I needed those extra boxes, so I've just changed it into level 5. So next we are going to go up. We're going to go from this line here 2, 4, 6 down, and we're going to go all the way to the top of this box. Then we're going to go 2, 4 down, and another 4 down to create your level 3 section. And then another 2 down. And all the way through I have kept the same pen thickness. This is my thicker pen. Then we're going to section off the different task boxes. So each box, each one of these is a 2 by 2, just here. Each one is 2 by 2. So we are going to do our 2 by 2 across. And I'm using my thinner pen now. This is the thinner pen. Of course, you don't have to use a ruler with this, but I do find it looks sort of neater and nicer if you do it this way. But there are times, like with this one, I didn't use a ruler, I just went for it. Sometimes that organic hand-drawn look, I think, can add to a spread. Oh, look what I did. Okay, so this is something I do quite often. So I've gone up into these boxes. Tipex. So I didn't want to do that. You want to leave the top boxes empty of that line. Okay, because that's going to be just your sort of label for the column. And then I'm going to do it again here, obviously trying to miss out that top box. Okay, so next I'm going to section off my weeks. I'm going to section it off to make it a little bit easier. And I'm going back to my thicker pen. So that would be, how do I explain this? So on here you can see, let me see if I can find one. Okay, so this is where the week ends on this one. It ends on the 5th day. So obviously this day must have been a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's where the week ended. For August starts on a Monday. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down, which is actually, you want 7 days, so that's actually 14 squares, because don't forget we've got 2 boxes per square. I really hope this is making sense. Okay, so that's where this week ends. Sometimes it helps to pencil in the days first, so you've got 1 day here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're going to go across on that number 7 day. So we know that that is where that week ends. Next I'm going to go across and section off all these little mini boxes to create my daily boxes. Okay, so we've now got the first part of the month on this page. We'll write in the days. Now, because it's not overly obvious where those weeks end, I can see it's a thicker line, but it's not always overly obvious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a light green. This is a Tombow, and it's 243. It's one of my favourite ones, but it does come up looking a little bit fluorescent on camera. I'm not sure why. It's not actually fluorescent. Look, I've got Tipex on me. So I'm going to colour these days and section them off. Okay, so now I've got my weekends sectioned off, which makes it much easier to see what you're doing. So I'm going to write in the levels at the top. So I've got my level 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So that's one side done. On the right side, this is your bottom line here. If you've got 30 days in a month, you're going to go 2, 4 boxes up from this line here, which would be 2 boxes up would be here. That's for if you've got 30 days. If you've got 31 days like we have in August, you're going to go just just 1 box up. Okay, and that'll give you the right amount of days. And you're going to make this exactly the same on this side, except you're going 1 box or 2 boxes up, depending on how many days of the month. So I'm going to recreate this on this side, but I'm going to remove one of the boxes because I don't need the bottom one. Oops, made that line a bit wiggly. Oops, and that one. Okay, so I've got my other side sectioned off. 15, 16, I'm going to write in the days. And again, I'm going to section off my weekends. So that's my weekend sectioned off, and then I'm going to write the levels again. Okay, and that is your productivity level tracker all set up. Yes, it does take a minute to do, but in my opinion, it's worth it because I like to see, you know, how much I'm achieving. When I'm having a down day and I don't feel like I've got a lot done, sometimes I will go back to my productivity level tracker and I'll look in it and I'll think, actually, I did get quite a lot done today. Okay, it's like, look at all the things I've achieved this month, all the different ways I've been productive. It's really satisfying to look at. It also helps in that sometimes you can see when you're most productive. Like I tend to be most productive at the beginning of a week. So that's made me realise that I need to plan most of the things I need to get done in the week at the beginning of the week, because I know that that's when I tend to get most things done. The other thing is, in here I've got things that maybe are things that don't need doing very often. It's like when did I last do this? Say you checked the oil on your car. You could put a little icon in for that, and then when you're thinking, when did I last do that, you can have a look back and see when you last did it. So that's really handy as well. I really love this spread because I found as you use it, you'll find lots and lots of different ways that it helps you. There's all sorts of different sort of tweaks and things in it that I find particularly helpful. Okay, so now I'm going to go into my old book and I'm going to find where I've put all my icons in. Where is that book? Okay, so this is my 2019 that I started in January, and then I filled it all up. I'm going to go to my icon page here. So I've got my different icons, and what I did is I sectioned them off into different sort of categories to make it easier to find what I'm looking for. There are loads and loads and loads of different things you can put in this, many more than I've come up with. But for home, let's zoom in a bit. So please excuse if I've got any of my spellings wrong. I'm not the best speller. So I've got cooking, and I did like a little cooking pot. I've got clean the kitchen, so I've got a house with a K. Clean living room with an L. Bedroom with a B. Ridley's room for a little house with an R. Tristan's room, a little house with a T in it. Organising, so that means like if I organise my wardrobe / closet, whatever you want to call it, or maybe I went through all my bookshelf or all my makeup and I did lots of organising. I was thinking, well, I'm not sure how I would count that, so I've just done a little black dot in here. Hoovering, I've done like a really rubbish little sort of Henry Hoovery looking thing. Doing the dishes, putting the laundry away, doing a wash load. For cleaning the bathrooms, I've got a house with an empty circle. Changing the bed sheets, I've done a little bed. And then shopping, I've done a little shopping trolley. For admin type stuff, I've got a little envelope for messages and emailing people. I've got a really rubbish looking phone for calls. Obviously there's all sorts of other things you might have to do admin wise. If you go onto Pinterest and look up icons and things, you can get loads of different icons come up, and if you've got something you need to have an icon for, those are really, really great for finding ideas for what to put for it. So I've got family and friends section. So if I spent quality time with Tristan, I mean, I spend a lot of time with my boys, but I don't always feel like it's really quality one-on-one time. So if I've spent, you know, like a good amount of time, really just the two of us, either with Ridley or Tristan, they get a little heart with a T or an R in. If Tristan's been learning his maths, I've got a plus sign, a minus, division, and a multiplication sign. If I've been doing reading with him, I do a little ABC. If I am spending time with my friends or family that's not like an immediate family member, me, Lee, Tristan or Ridley, if it's my mum or Natalie or, you know, all those different people, I do a little smiley face. This helps me notice when I'm being sociable, and if I don't see any of these for a while, I know that I'm sort of going into my cave and hiding away, and it reminds me that I need to be a little bit more sociable. So that's an important one. And then I've got like a little wine glass for a night out. I haven't gone on a night out in months and months and months. So for work, I've got a little camera for filming. I've got a little pair of scissors for editing. I've got like a volume sign, I suppose, for narrations. A little arrow pointing up for uploading. A star for if I've actually done proper planning, like setting up something or penciling a spread in, that sort of thing. I've got this one for uploading to Instagram, an F for Facebook. I've got one of those little speech bubble, speech bubble signs for social media engagement. So if I've gone through all my YouTube comments and replied to them all on Facebook and that sort of thing, I get one of these. A P for my Patreon posts, and a really, really awful little sewing machine for if I've done sewing. I haven't done that in a long, long time. So obviously if your work entails different things, maybe you have to travel, so you could put a car or something, or if you're actually flying, you could do something like a little aeroplane or something. If you're not working and you are in like college or university or anything like that, you could have different icons for study times, exams, different lessons that you went to. Say you were doing chemistry, you could have one of those little test tube pictures or icons. You know, you can be really creative with what you want to put in here, and you can make an icon up for pretty much anything. If I can't find an icon, I write in the letter. Like for errands, which I haven't actually gotten here because it's something I added later on, I just do an E. So yoga, I've got, it's supposed to be a little lotus flower. Strength, I've got a really simple little weights sign. Cardio, I've got a heart with that sort of beep, beep thing in it. And then stretching, I've got like a little yoga mat thing. I've got stuff for self-development, because I count that as being productive. If I do something towards myself and my personal development, that is productive to me. So I've got a little pencil for journaling. I've got a little sort of brain thing for brainstorming. So that might be reading a book and doing research, or just coming up with, no, not research, but like coming up with different ideas. Like maybe I'm brainstorming different ideas for spreads and things like that. I've got this weird little paint palette thing for if I'm doing art stuff, and I count that as sort of self-development, because I find it very therapeutic and calming, and it's good for me to be artistic. I've got a little book here for study. I'm not in school or anything, but I count studying as maybe self-help books or information books or learning a language, that sort of thing. And then I've got a little yin-yang for meditate. Now, these ones, the teeth, the makeup and washing, would be really, really helpful for someone that's suffering with depression and things like that. So when you are depressed, you don't feel like doing anything. If you've got a chronic illness like I do, sometimes it can be very, very difficult to do your makeup and brush your teeth and get out of bed, things like that. So on days where I find it really, really difficult, because I do them, you know, most days, but on the days where I find it really, really difficult and I push myself to do it, I will put one of these in, just so to prove to myself that yes, you are pushing yourself. Even when you're feeling down, you're getting it done. So say you are depressed and you've literally all you've done is got up and made your made your bed and brushed your teeth and done your makeup. Say that's the only thing you've done that day, at least you can put something in to say that you've been productive. Doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. I'm not judging whatever you do. Whatever you think is something that you've done for yourself that is productive, you can put it in here. I've got a pound sign for if I go through my finances and bills and I check payments and all that sort of thing, or if I've been paying bills. And I've got APT for appointments, so like doctor's appointments, eye appointments, any kinds of appointments. So obviously there are many more icons that you can make. Like I said, it's really handy to go on Pinterest and have a look at the different icons people have come up with, so you can sort of find an icon to dedicate to a task. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So what I would do at the end of every day is I would go through what I've done that day and I would fill it in each time. If I only get 2 or 3 or 4 things done, or even 1 or 2, like at the minute, because Ridley's in hospital, I've really not been getting a huge amount done. So like you can see here, I got barely anything done these days because I spent hours and hours and hours in the hospital. I've got like a little tooth here for the dentist. I've got a leaf. I'm gonna come in a bit tighter. Don't judge what I do with my life. I've got a little leaf for if I've been out in nature, because obviously that's important. You could have a sun for if you've made sure you've got lots of sunshine. You could have a glass of water for if you've done really well with making sure you're drinking water. What else have I got in here? Is there anything? I've been using these little crosses for when I've been in the hospital. I'm sure I was in hospital that day. I've been every single day, so I'm going to fill it in. Now it's amazing how many tasks that you might need to have an icon for, even if it's things like I've got a little hamster face that I use for when I've cleaned out the hamster, and I've got like a little litter tray, just so that I know that I'm doing it on a regular basis, because I can look back sometimes and go, oh, I haven't done that for a few days, and then it reminds me to do it. I'm just going to have another little look in. I'm going to go to this month because it's more filled in and see if I can find any icons. Oh, I've got like here, I've got these little really awful, this is the good thing about this, it's just for you, so it doesn't need to be fancy. It really doesn't. Like I've got these really rubbish hairstyle pictures. Those are for days when I've been doing my hair, because I've barely been doing anything with my hair. It's just up in a mum bun all the time. So mum bun. So I've put those on there for when I actually make the effort to do my hair, because it makes me feel good. What else have I got here? I've got this, I'm not racist, I promise. It's for when I use a black face mask. You know, one of those charcoal mask things. And I like to put it in to know that, you know, I'm doing it every now and again, just to try and clear things up completely. I've also got like a little man here, and I use that when I feel like I've been particularly assertive and I've stood up for myself, because that's something that I need to work on. So these are the times where I feel like I've really asserted myself, and I've got more here and more here. So I was really working on that in this month. I think this was January, maybe. No, it was May. It was May, because this is the next book. I think that's all the sort of different icons that I can show you at the minute. So that is the productivity level tracker. I mean, I would really recommend, even if you know, it doesn't look like something that you would use, I would give it a go. Just 1 month. That's the beauty of a bullet journal. You can try something, and if it doesn't work, you can throw it away, but you don't know unless you try. So it's something I've been using constantly since, I don't know, was it November last year, I think. So I've been using this for months, and I really enjoy filling it out at the end of the day, because it just boosts my confidence. It boosts my confidence because I can see how much I've got done that day. It also helps me realise when I'm doing too much. If I've done a huge amount and it's all filled up, that's not necessarily a good sign, because you need to make sure you're taking time to rest. If you're not getting very much done, it can sort of help you to step back and look at why you're not getting very much done, whether it be, you know, just circumstances outside of your control, fair enough. But if it's because there's something wrong with you and you're feeling down, or you may be going into a depression or something like that, you can see it on here. You can see if your activities are dwindling, and that will help you realize that maybe you need to get out more or push yourself a little bit harder. But always be kind to yourself. That's the number one thing. Don't overly push yourself. I'm terrible for doing that. I'll be in pain and I'll be tired and I'll keep pushing till I break myself. So this has really helped me sort of monitor and make sure that I'm not doing that. So that is the end of my productivity level tracker explanation and setup. I really, really hope you found this helpful. If you've got any questions at all about it, please ask me in the comments. I will make sure I link the Boosted Journals video in the description if you want to go and take a look at that, because maybe it might be easier for you to see how he sets it up, and maybe he explains it slightly differently to how I have, which might help you understand it slightly better. But yeah, that is it. I hope you found this video helpful. Give me a like and a thumbs up if you fancy it. That would be nice. And subscribe if you haven't and you'd like to see more. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!